yeah, we can say that, of the All Progressives Congress. And yesterday, on his social media handles, made the decision to say he is no more of the APC, and it is a lot. And I just have been talking to say, why did he decide, to go that route, talking about Malam Nasir El-Rufai? It is right. We talk about the freedom of expression and many things, and he has exercised that freedom. But then many questions are to be asked. Why the SDP? Why is he leaving at this time? What is his plans? And many persons are concerned about his political future as well. And will he be a loss to the All Progressives Congress? Many things. Let me just reel out some of his decision, and he called that message Nigeria update onwards to the future. There's Malam El-Rufai saying, as a founding member of the APC, I have fond memories of working with other compatriots to negotiate the merger of political parties that created the APC. It had been my hope since 2013 that my personal values and that of the APC will continue to align up to the time I choose to retire from politics. But development the last 2 years confirmed that there is no desire on the part of those who currently control and run the APC to acknowledge, much less address, the unhealthy situation of the party. On my part, I've raised concerns in private and more recently in public regarding the capricious trajectory of the party. Therefore, at this point in my political journey, I've come to the conclusion that I must seek another political platform for the pursuit of the progressive values I cherish. So much, so lengthy a letter. As a loyal party man, I worked to help secure the APC's election victories in 2015, 2019, and 2023. I was one of the many governors elected on the party's platform in 2015 and 2019 that stood for certain democratic and progressive principles to advance nation building. My 8-year tenure in Kaduna State was devoted to implementing progressive policies to advance human development in education and healthcare, as well as expand infrastructure, promote equality of opportunity, create jobs, and attract investment. Today, 10th March 2025, I submitted a letter resigning my membership of the APC to my ward in Kaduna, effective immediately. Prior to this step, I have concluded consultations with my mentors, colleagues, and loyalists across the country about the future. I have now decided to join the Social Democratic Party SDP and adopt it as a platform of our future political engagement and activities. Without prejudice to his decision, as a member of the SDP, I will focus on engaging with and persuading other opposition leaders and parties to join us and congregate under a unified democratic platform to challenge the APC in the elections and by-elections between now and 2027 by the grace of God. I therefore call on our supporters and other persons concerned about our country's future to join us in the SDP in the journey towards making Nigeria flourish as a beacon of pride for Africans and the black race. Thank you, and God bless the Social Democratic Party. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai, CEO in Abuja, 10th of March 2025. And with us today, we have a man who, knows the terrain and the polity, and somebody who understands it. He's the Director General at the Heritage Center, a politician, and of course, a public affairs analyst, Dr. Kachen Onujui, joins us virtually from the seat of power in Abuja. Doctor, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a good thing to engage with your audience.
Right. I'd like to have your impression of the latest development of your friend. I'd like to call him your friend, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. He has jumped ship and he has given his reasons. What do you think has gotten him here?
Oh, well, I think you need to look at what is the reason for his rejection by the current administration, despite his vaunted contributions. It has to do a lot with the main game for which the First Lady brought to her husband's attention the complaints from a vast majority of people of northern Nigeria in regards to Mr. El-Rufai's participation in the industrial scale killings in Kaduna State and other parts of northern Nigeria. So if that kind of record was enough for the president to say, no, I'm not going to work with you because I seek the support of the Christian and indigenous populations of the vast areas of central Kaduna, which we call the Christian-speaking areas of Kaduna State, and to a large extent of the other parts of northern Nigeria, who felt that his activities in allowing the killings actually put him in bad taste with the people of northern Nigeria. That now tells you what political capital does he bring. Look at the records. The APC lost the presidential election in Kaduna State in 2023. The APC also lost a lot of the elections, but when he got to the governorship election, he managed to win by a slim majority, and that's how he brought Governor Obasani. So El-Rufai wasn't actually a good governor. He does not pull a lot of strength when it comes to followership. Yes, he may think he has some followership amongst the Muslims, but what kind of followership is that? His badly construed Muslim ticket is not working very well. The Muslims said that they are not being served by his Muslim ticket idea.
Oh, sorry to cut in. Sorry to cut in, Dr. Nonju. Sorry to cut in there. You just said something about Nasir El-Rufai, okay? But let's be sincere. He has played a major role. Okay, he has played a major role in the success of the APC in the 2015 elections, 2019 elections, and the 2023 elections. Now, you just mentioned his Muslim ticket. How about what we have in the presidency today? It was a Muslim ticket. So I think, in all fairness, we should also give credit to Malam Nasir El-Rufai, because he has really helped APC in the past. Or what do you think, Dr. Nonju?
This is your opinion that does not tally.
No, I'm talking about the facts here. I'm talking about not opinion. I'm sharing facts.
No, listen. You're talking about the party. And the party has told you that his ideas has not led.
Hello, Dr. Nonju, are you still with us?
So don't form the things. You're parroting Mr. Fine words. We know what he said. We have him on video. We have Mr. El-Rufai on video about his words in regards to the construction of Muslim. And I tell you, Muslims say that it doesn't work. Don't forget, we are discussing about a Christian majority country. So Mr. El-Rufai may be a very smart person in conjuring divisive ways, but those divisive strategies have not helped Nigeria as a whole. The Muslim ticket, which he claims to have conjured, is not helping the country. The Muslims said last week that it's a very, very poor arrangement and they see no value in it. Yeah, you conjure that, but could the ticket win? No. And you still have to acrobatically foist that ticket upon Nigerians.
Okay,
Nigerians are simply accepting these things because they want peace. So because Nigerians want peace does not mean that Mr. El-Rufai's constructions are acceptable to the larger percentage of Nigerians. So keep that aside, please.
Okay.
Now, I will still tell you, our country is currently in a state of capture. So I don't think there's anything good to be written about where we're coming from.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nonju.
Let's think about where we're going to. Okay. Where we're going to is what we're talking about.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nonju. Let me make this clear. I am not speaking in support of anyone. Okay, I'm just a journalist. I'm just trying to state the fact. So I'm
then
not.
Allow me to state my opinions. Allow me to state my opinions.
Of course, very well, Dr. Nonju. Very well.
Don't interject with parroting what he said.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so sorry about that. I just wanted to clarify something. I just want us
That's what I'm trying to tell you is there is a widely held, widely known opinion about him based on knowledge, empirical knowledge. the reason why he's not in government today is due to complaints from the Christian populations, the indigenous populations across North Central Nigeria about his participation in the killings. And that's why I told you previously in your program that look at what the current administration have achieved. There are no more killings. The killings have stopped. And because they have stopped, I consider that as a veritable achievement by the current administration. So tell me, what values would Mr. El-Rufai bring to wherever he comes to? Yeah, we have those primordial attachments, but those primordial things cannot be achieved if you're not in power. Now, the man who has power, the incumbent president, does not want to work with him. And you're telling me now he's joining some other people. Good. The question is, what advantage will he bring to the current party he's gone to that he didn't bring to the APC? What is it that he will bring to the current people he's going to that the people in government today didn't see him of bringing such values to them that they will have taken him into government? What I'm trying to tell you is, whatever it is that forced them to say, no, we don't want to work with El-Rufai, is what everybody must calculate. What value does it bring to any union? This is the game. And if you're talking about those who complain about his participation in the industrial scale ethnic cleansings in Kaduna State, which today is no more the case, but was the case when he was governor. This is simply what you judge. How come when he was governor, the killings were that massive? And he was known on television to say he took money and gave to the kids.
Oh, hello, Dr. Nonju, are you still with us?
And yet these killers didn't stop. So who are the people he gave money to? Who are those people? And how come they didn't stop the killings? So how come he went public to look at, don't forget the killing of the traditional ruler of the Adara people. We have these things on record. There were quite a lot of places in Kaduna where these things happen. Let's not forget the past, please. This is where you must judge Mr. El-Rufai for. What did he bring? And for talking about him joining a place, don't forget, everywhere he goes, the record about him joining anybody has always ended up with him ending up, trying to damage those people. So, yes, Mr. El-Rufai, on face value, is a Nigerian. But what about his deeds? Those deeds are the reasons why, personally, I'm not comfortable being associated with him. And same way, most people will not be very comfortable being associated with him because of his records. His records are the most important thing.
Okay.
So we must take cognizance of the cries and the complaints of Nigerians from the northern part of this country.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ononuju. I really appreciate your comments and your opinion. But again, like I said, we as journalists, we try to state the facts, okay, as they are. You just said some things about Nasir El-Rufai, okay, which are facts. I ask again, there was a time this same Nasir El-Rufai was so valuable to the APC, okay, in as much as they are giving him knocks now for dumping the party for SDP. There was a time when he was so crucial to the success of the APC. In fact, there was a video online that went viral. Can you hear me, Dr. Ononuju? Please, let me land here.
I can hear you, and I'll tell you the reason why he's valuable.
Okay, hold on, sir. Let me finish. So there was a time that the current president was actually pleading with him to be part of his government. So the question is, what changed? He was so valuable to the president. He was actually pleading with him, begging him to be part of his administration. Okay, because of his intelligence, his sagacity, and a lot that he brings to the table. The question is, what has changed? Why the sudden disaffection between El-Rufai and Mr. President? What has changed? That exactly is the question.
What has changed is simple. If you look at the words of the former Chief of Army Staff, General Ihejirika, he said El-Rufai was the contact man for the USIH covert operations in Nigeria. And that meant anybody who sought power and who thought the use of violence as a strategy to get to power will then talk to whoever is the contact man for the U.S. aid covert operations in Nigeria, and that was El-Rufai, and that's why he was the main person who was in charge of the Bring Back Our Girls thing, and as General Hejirika stated, the main commander-in-chief of the Boko Haram operations. These are not my words. These are the words of the Chief of Army Staff, General Hejirika, and those words are compiled from the intelligence gatherings given to the general by the Army Intelligence Committee. And you know what that means. You know, so the Defense Intelligence Agency told the Chief of Army Staff that from their investigations, Mr. El-Rufai was the head of the covert operations in Nigeria of the USAID funding of violence in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Nonju.
So
these are very...
The current party don't think they need such covert operations to maintain power.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nonju. These are very serious allegations. So if they have evidences, okay, for these allegations, why has it not been charged to court? These are very serious allegations. And according to you...
Very simple. Very simple. You may not just charge him to court like that because a lot of those who also participated with him are in government. So you need to be very careful. You don't, because of this, the U.S. Congress revelations, want to implode your country. What can you do against the United States? Nothing. The Trump administration has revealed the covert operations, but you don't need to blow your house up because of the Trump administration's expose of the operations of the American deep state. No, you don't do that. You must be very careful so you don't implode your country. You have to be very tactful so you don't start a war that is avoidable in your country. You must be very tactful so that you don't start undermining even the basis of your own stability as a government. So we understand that.
Okay,
we accept that.
Dr. Nonju, well said, Dr. Nonju. But the fact is this revelation actually came after he was dropped as a ministerial nominee, because it sounds as if you are stating categorically that this is why the president changed his mind about him. But he actually dropped him as his ministerial nominee before we had this revelation. What do you have to say to that?
This revelation you're talking about only got revealed by the Trump administration at the U.S. Congress. But most of us in Nigeria, before the congressional revelation, knew about this. Don't forget, when the Chief of Army Staff, based on the intelligence gathered by the Defense Intelligence Agency, made this public, the Trump administration was not yet at the point of revealing this. So I am telling you, based on Nigeria's own internal intelligence gathering, people in Kaduna State made this complaint to the First Lady, who now went straight to her husband and said, look, the people I was dealing with in Kaduna, and I asked them, why didn't they vote for you? Why did they vote for Peter Obi? They said that you are sleeping with the enemy. And I told them to expatiate, and they said, Mr. El-Rufai was the commander-in-chief, as stated by the Chief of Army Staff, General Hejirika, of the violence that ravaged northern Nigeria. And if you continue to work with him, don't expect us to vote for you, Mr. President. And that was simply why he called Mr. Ribadu to confirm. Mr. Ribadu, you know a lot about intelligence. What do you think about this? He said, Your Excellency, I think there's some truth there. And I dropped him. That's all. So if that is the reason why he's dropped, why do you think he will bring advantage to any group that he joins? These things are very simple. My brother, we are Nigerians, and we can only move this country forward when we have the courage to speak truth to power and the courage to say the truth so we can build a better country. We're not going to build a better country by being afraid of those who have committed very, very heinous crimes against humanity in their states of governance, including Mr. El-Rufai and Kaduna State. Today, whether you like it or not, the appointment of Mr. Christopher Musa is a reaction to that. Christopher Musa, General, has now worked to safeguard his puppy. He has now stopped those things that are happening. You've heard what Professor Bolaji Akinyemi said, that he was a member of the committee, and they saw that we're bringing weapons and other supplies to terrorists. The villagers were saying this also in Kaduna. And you also add that to what General Onyabo Ihejirika said, Chief of Army Staff. This is not just anybody. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff was telling the world what he got from his interactions was with the Defense Intelligence Agency, and he called Mr. El-Rufai the Commander-in-Chief of the Boko Haram. Now that the US aid has been exposed by the Trump administration, don't you see it easy for us now to think, okay, what Ihejirika was saying, add that to the fact that we knew the Bring Back Our Girls operation was run from Mr. El-Rufai's office, and the fact that everybody has been pointing at him, and now the Americans have come openly to say this is this. That's why you were talking about his relevance in the original days, when people thought to get to power, violence was necessary. And yes, a lot of those who got to that power through that violence are still in power. That's why you do not implode the system carelessly. We need to go very gently, despite the revelations from the US Congress and from the Trump administration. This is my take on this, and I believe the government is very, very gentle in doing this. So the kind of baggage that Mr. El-Rufai brings, my brother, is monumental, and we must be very, very careful if we seek to heal the wounds of the past in moving forward as people of one nation.
Yeah, Dr. Nanuju, interesting text there. Let's take it back a little, back to the topic. The jumping in that release of Malam Nasir Rufai, he called it Onwards to the Future. These are his reasons, by the way. And he said, as a party loyal man, I worked to help secure that the APC's election victories in 2015, 2019, and 2023. And he spoke about what he did as a governor, the kind of governor that he was. He has spoken to some of these facts. And he later said, today, that was yesterday, I have submitted a letter resigning my membership of the APC to my ward in Kaduna. And I have now decided to join the Social Democratic Party and adopt it as a platform for future and political engagement and activities. And he later said he's rallying support, from party members, from others to join him, and using his word, I call on all our supporters and other persons concerned about our country's future to join us in the SDP in the journey towards making Nigeria flourish as a beacon, and he even said, let us congregate under a unified democratic platform to challenge the APC in all elections and by-elections between now and 2027 by the grace of God. So it was categorical, it was focal about where he is going, and he has chosen the SDP. Doctor, remember, he has had many visitations to political bigwigs. I think a few days ago, he was seen in the company of Rufai El-Rufai, the former governor of Osun State, among many other people. And many persons were expecting, would there be a merger because of Raul's position in the Osun politics as well, and all of those other persons. But now he went for the SDP. Number one, Dr. Nanuju, why do you think he has joined the SDP, not a Labour, not an MPP? Because these are the parties that at least put some weight in the last elections. SDP, why? And number two, this is just El-Rufai. Do you think there will be many El-Rufais that will still join this particular party or their coalition?
I can tell you right now, effectively, Nigeria is today a one-party state due to the inability of the other parties to manage themselves well. My party, the PDP, is currently moribund and comatose. And of course, the Labour Party is also challenged because it has executives that do not believe in inclusion. And that was why those who participated, like myself, in the obedient movement, who built the obedient movement, like myself, who are the leaders of the movement, were not accommodated by the Labour Party. And that's why we refused the Labour Party to be a veritable position or a house for us. And that's what you've seen in Anambra State. Mr. Valentine Uzibo has gone elsewhere. And people had meetings with me, and I said, if the Labour Party could not put themselves in order to accommodate us, who gave them great presence and publicity, then we have every right to seek our political fortunes anywhere. And this is what politics is. So Mr. El-Rufai, in the face of open rejection by the APC. They know him more than you know him. They know him more than anyone else know him. He's right. He has every right to take his game to the SDP. So if the APC has rejected him, don't forget, no one in the country knows.
I was trying to ask, why the SDP? Is it a strategic move, or that's just the available party?
The SDP seems to be the only house that is not in trouble right now. The SDP is not involved in a public war of attrition. The PDP is involved in that. You could see Mr. Wike's reaction to the Atiku.
All right.
Persistent problems in the petition, to the way Mr. Julius Tabure and others have refused to open up the party to be a national party, is the reason people are walking away from Labour Party. So the SDP seems to be relatively on its own without any trouble, and that's why it does present to the judgment of Mr. El-Rufai a veritable picture of a party that he can be part of. But take it from me, the SDP right now doesn't have the strength to be called an opposition party, doesn't have any visible membership that does speak up publicly, not like Mr. Peter Obi and his obedient movement, not like the PDP, where you have once in a while voices will come from there. So right now, we are watching. If the opposition do not come together to make peace, to unite themselves, Nigeria will remain, as I spoke earlier, a one-party state. So for me, Mr. El-Rufai joining the SDP is based on his calculations, premise on a personal opinion. So it doesn't really shift the needle. The country is still where it is. As you said, if in future, if others will start to gather, we don't know where they will gather yet. That's what he has done. But I can tell you, Mr. El-Rufai does not bring any political capital. It doesn't bring political. Gone are the days when people calculated political advantage from an ability to use Boko Haram to implode a system. And don't forget, Mr. El-Rufai's marriage with Boko Haram started when he was quarreling with President Yar'Adua. That's when it started. So, and then this started happening. Then the chief of army staff told us publicly this was the commander-in-chief of the Boko Haram. We didn't understand it then.
All right, Dr. Ononuju. All right, well said. You have stated your fact. Thank you so much. But again, I just wanted to ask you this question. Let me just ask you now, if El-Rufai joining SDP is a strategic move, and you said he does not have that clout, do you think, what if he joining, El-Rufai joining SDP would have the same effect as, let's say, Peter Obi joining LP, for instance? You know, we saw what happened when Peter joined Labour Party. Because of his person, because of his popularity, okay, a lot of people won elections just because of that name. Do you think El-Rufai can bring that same power? What if the calculation of SDP is that, oh, El-Rufai coming on board will transform the party? And of course, El-Rufai's ability, okay, to also woo other players in the game to join the SDP might just make SDP a force to reckon with in the coming days. Don't you think that is actually a strategic move on their part?
You earlier stated about the meetings Mr. El-Rufai has had with Mr. Aregbesola. Aregbesola, just like Mr. El-Rufai, are rejected persons. They were previously close allies of President Tinubu. So if El-Rufai can try to attract other people of his like, rejected persons who were previously confidants of Mr. Tinubu, that's a normal thing, because birds of the same feather would naturally flock together. But Mr. El-Rufai is not Peter Obi. Peter Obi is a historical figure that appeared on our political scene when Nigerians from all walks of life and from all political parties sought a new path for a new Nigeria. And Peter Obi was like the picture they used. He was the head of the masquerade owned by the people, and they sought a new Nigeria through his leadership. Of course, you know what happened. El-Rufai was amongst those who conjured the acrobatics that suddenly forced a cancellation of the results. And when we asked, why did you stop the collation? They said there was a glitch, and acrobatically, results were presented. But because we cannot fight the system, we accepted to follow what has been given to us, and that's why you have peace in today's Nigeria. That Mr. El-Rufai was not allowed to now eat from the pot of the soup, which he claimed to have also been part of the cooks that instrumented the cooking of that soup. It's not my position. It's not me or you's way to come and start blaming the SDP. Why didn't they give the soup to one of the cooks? It's not our own. All I'm going to tell you is the APC seems to know more about Mr. El-Rufai than the rest of Nigerians. And whatever it is that they saw, that they now say, we don't want to work with you anymore, will also be seen. But if you don't know him,
all right.
Point you to the revolution, his role in the use of covert operations to undermine Nigeria's security.
All right, Dr. Nonju. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Nonju. So you are saying categorically that the APC has nothing to worry about. They shouldn't bother about whatever Malam Nasir El-Rufai might do. So you are saying categorically that they have nothing to worry about, that he's not credible enough, okay, to act as a viable opposition to the APC. Is that your point? I want to get you clearly on that. You are saying the APC has nothing, absolutely nothing to worry about this defection.
Yes. They don't have nothing to worry about yesterday, that they have not been worried about that during the original protest march that El-Rufai and his gang initiated against President Tinubu. And don't forget how that march came. They were not happy that Tinubu, whom they claim they brought to presidency, is not acting in line with their thoughts and their plots. And Tinubu said, no, don't say you gave me power. You did not give me power. I bought the power with my money. That's what he said. And of course, if you're used and paid, you don't need to come back to the man who paid you to tell him that he needs to pay you a double portion. That's not true. So,
all right.
Mr. Tinubu has moved on.
Okay.
El-Rufai is a transactional man, and Tinubu has moved on. So whatever it is that El-Rufai and those that belong to him are talking about that they did not do since during the protest against President Tinubu, I don't think you have any other thing come. And let me also tell you, El-Rufai is not P2B. El-Rufai doesn't have the followership of P2B. I saw yesterday's tweet, El-Rufai's son, saying that he was misled into speaking ill about P2B, that he has now changed. No, this is typical El-Rufai picture. This is what he does. He will use his mouth, he will praise leaders, and then later on, he will now lead those leaders into a ditch or start to destroy their character and their name. Tell me, from Atiku Abubakar, who brought him on board the Obasanjo administration, call who is this? Is it President Yar'Adua? Is it even President Buhari, who was trashed by El-Rufai, but later on had to not follow El-Rufai, where he found out that El-Rufai was into some big game of covert operations? Who is it? Is it Tinubu? Tell me. El-Rufai is known. His history is well known to all Nigerians. So please leave him aside.
Okay.
The reasons why we're in the industrial scale ethnic cleansings in northern Nigeria.
Okay. All right.
That's
Dr.
the reason why his friends in the APC rejected him.
Okay, all right, Dr. Nonju. Thank you so much for that. But let's also remember, okay, just in addition to what you just said, that APC has nothing to worry about, that they have moved on. Fine, well said. But don't forget, there are two sides. There are two sides to a coin. Nasir El-Rufai was a founding member of the APC. Don't forget that. So even if the APC has dirt on Nasir El-Rufai, he also understands the party. He was there from the beginning. He has access to information. He knows the party's secrets. So do you think that APC really has nothing to worry about? We're talking about a founding member of the party here. So it might get to that point that he too will start throwing dirt at the party. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can tell you something. The party secrets that they were talking about, when President Tinubu, out of anger, said, "You did not make me president, I bought it with my money." That was party secret. If they were men enough, they would have gone on to challenge him, and he will have exposed a lot more, which may have led to the arrest of those who contrived the glitch. So the fact that they don't have the balls, what is El-Rufai going to tell the party? What would he tell the public? I helped them to power through violence. That's nothing. They could deny it, that yes, you did it on your own. We were not part of you. They would tell him, of course, we only met you at the inception stage of the APC coalition. But we were not with you when you were fighting with Mr. Yaradua, when you started all this with when the Chief of Army Staff, General Yejirika, was speaking about you being the commander of Boko Haram. You're talking about the chief of the Nigerian army. He's not just talking anyhow. He is speaking based on the intelligence gathered by the Defense Intelligence Agency. So these things are statute mandated, archival informations. They're not just what you say anyhow. So I don't think the APC has anything to worry. What will he say? He will come open and confess, we got the power by my instrumentation of violence using APC. Then he will be in trouble. Of course. That's why you see the government to be very polite, because a lot of those who work with El-Rufai are in power. Not that we don't know how the water got to our clothes. We're just careful that if we press too much,
right, Doctor,
the clothes could also get stained and we may not be able to use them. We're very careful in Nigeria because we don't want an implosion.
All right,
okay?
Dr.
So please,
yeah,
give Mr. El-Rufai for his party games.
All right. The presidency, in a kind of way, they have responded to the development. One of the media aides of the president, Daniel Bwala, on his verified Twitter handle, said, and I quote him, "Senior El-Rufai, I read the news today that you resigned from the APC to join the SDP. Well, have nothing against you because you exercise your constitutional right. However, the motive is what we would interrogate in the coming days and remind Nigerians that you are not a phenomenon that emerged like a clap of thunder out of the blue sky. We will intellectually remind you that associating with sore losers to unseat the incumbent is not an ideology, neither is it progressivism. It is simply an inordinate ambition that is destined to fall." That is from Daniel Bwala. And let me quickly add, Doctor, that the APC as well have been reacting to his Nasir El-Rufai's jumping of ship. And they said without, they have really made light of that decision by El-Rufai to jump ship. But then the presidency is saying, whatever your ideas here, don't think too highly of yourself. And Daniel Bwala adding that we will intellectually remind you that associating with sore losers to unseat the incumbent is not an ideology or progressivism. It is simply an inordinate ambition that is destined to fail. Do you align with that thought? That is an inordinate ambition, because non-Nigerians will say, if you are talking about inordinate ambition, you are talking about every average politician. So what has made Daniel Bwala a judge in this matter? Your reaction, Doctor? Please go ahead.
Daniel Bwala is a friend of mine. I would not want to turn his words into a subject of my reactions. But then he has a right to his opinions about Mr. El-Rufai's actions. I have my own opinions, and those are the things I'm explaining here based on a Bible space. All I've done is simply to quote what is in public space based on revelations from the Defense Intelligence Agency about Mr. El-Rufai, and the reasons why I thought the people wanted to. Look, there's something there very clear. President Tinubu in Kaduna State, where El-Rufai comes from, in calculating about gaining Kaduna State, simply wants the people who didn't vote for El-Rufai, and those people are in greater number. Okay, so if you also remember that presidential election in Kaduna State was won by the PDP, not the APC, you will understand that. Mr. El-Rufai has great capability when helped by the state to write results, but not to garner votes from free and fair voting electors. I don't think anybody needs to talk more. Mr. Buala, my friend, has his opinion. I do not want to comment on
I understand.
Fair
enough. Fair enough, Doctor.
Let him keep his opinion to himself.
All right.
My opinions are the things I'm expressing here.
Definitely.
And I want this program to be about my opinions.
Yes, it's about your opinions. Definitely. And we so much appreciate
my friend, Daniel Buala.
But fine as well. But then many political watchers are saying, let's speak to the politics, because El-Rufai is focused, and he has talked about this, about 2027. All elections, you know, the will challenge through the vehicle of the SDP is calling on everybody to rally around him, let them challenge. He was categorical in that statement about 2027. Now, many persons will say Tinubu is not Goodluck Jonathan, because they've seen this card played before the 2015 thing. Some of the issues that you have talked about that was raised, some of it may be exaggerated, and some of those things are removed Goodluck Jonathan and his administration at the time, and you know, how they defected from the new PDP to the APC and all of those things. Many persons are saying Goodluck Jonathan is not Tinubu. Tinubu is a big-time politician. He understands the game. He has the clout. He has the money. He has the connection. And so for you, El-Rufai, and many persons that will come up, you don't stand a chance. Do you see it that way?
I don't see it that way. Jonathan is an angel. Jonathan knew what was going on. Jonathan knew he didn't lose the election. But Jonathan was worried about the contriving of violence as a strategy to gain power by the opposition. Jonathan didn't want an implosion of the country into dire consequences. Jonathan gave up power. And you could see all that in his book on my transition. And I believe the transition book captures quite a lot. I work with President Jonathan, and I know who he is. For the sake of the peace of Nigeria, Jonathan walked away from power. I blame him for that. Buhari really didn't win. If you look at the votes in Kanu and the way they had to burn and kill the wreck to be able to stage the results they talked about in Kanu, you'll understand that the APC actually didn't win properly. They didn't win fair and square. So thank God that that is a thing of the past.
Doctor, if I may quickly butt in here, sir, because of time.
Let's look to the future.
Yeah, sorry. That is my point, to say whatever game El-Rufai and his cohort and his people wants to play, Tinubu can play it. If you want to spend money, he can spend money. If you want to rally people, he has people that whatever El-Rufai is bringing, he can double it for you. So you have nothing on him. Well, that's my question, to say, do you see El-Rufai or the SDP or many other disgruntled politicians from every other party standing a chance to unseat him if he decides to run in 2027?
Well, I don't make my deductions from such calculations. Okay. I believe that whatever politicians do, they do it when you have the allowance space. The space must allow you to play the game you want to play.
Right.
And if the space don't allow you to write results the way you want and acrobatically dump it on the population, you'll have a problem. And that's the only thing I hold going to 2027. Because I believe right now we've not moved towards electoral reforms at the National Assembly. That simply tells you the incumbent wants to use the status quo to also play their own game. So who
All right.
Who told you that the games played with Buhari cannot be played by Tinubu and those who are in power now?
All right.
And this is where you have to draw your game from. The state is currently in a capture mode. And since the protagonists of state capture are still in power, I don't really see much changing in regards to your words
we must
about the
sincerely
2027
thank you.
elections.
Yes, Dr. Kachenunuju, the Director General at the Heritage Center, analyst of repute and of course a politician. Thank you for your always very, very frank take every morning on Morning Spring. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I also thank your audience for having me.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And that will be the first leg of the program. We'll go on this quick break. And when we return, the program will continue, but we'll switch gears. And I'm very sure you don't want to move a muscle. Stay with us.